of, choose the hell that you know versus hell that you don't. Meanwhile, the hell that you don't might be a heaven for all we know, but we don't know because a lot of us often don't give us a shot. Hey all, Nev here, and thank you very much for joining me for the second segment where we really start diving deeper into our brain, how we process things, how we think, and why I'm so passionate about the importance of it, importance of keeping our brain healthy, limb, updating it all the time, because it drives everything. Aside from silently running operations of our entire body, if you can imagine that, in collaboration, of course, with the buggies we got in our tummies. Yes, I'm talking about the gut and all of the bacteria that we have in there. So they kind of work together. Can you imagine that? Like, there's a bacteria telling you what to do. Pretty awesome. So you gotta make sure that your bacteria likes you. That's my thing, is like, all right, how do we become friends? So I've been befriending my bacteria. Have you? All right, let's go on and talk about the brain. So I told you that sometimes people are resistant to new ideas because, well, they're new. They haven't seen them. They don't know anybody who's seen them. We tend to be very trustless when we don't understand something, when we haven't seen something. And so the easiest path to do is just to say no, walk away, and go back to the old, same old, right? And even if the same old is not like good or powerful or empowering or helping us out, or we're not even happy with it, we end up staying because, well, it might not be awesome. At least I know what it is, right? It's kind of like that saying of, choose the hell that you know versus hell that you don't. Meanwhile, the hell that you don't might be a heaven for all we know, but we don't know because a lot of us often don't give us a shot. So how do we think? How do we process? How do we see some stuff? How is it possible that you and I could look at the exact same thing and you can see a downfall and I can see an upside? We could take a look at the same report, same chart. You can see a great investment opportunity, and I think the world is coming to the end. How does that work? And here is basically how it all works. In our brain, we have this filter called RAS, which is reticular activating system. I had a hard time saying that one, but it's RAS. And RAS basically wants to make us right. Our brain always wants to gather information that we believe, that we agree with, and then confirm that stuff to us. Example being, let's say that I believe that blonde female drivers are the most atrocious drivers of them all. When I believe that, which I don't, by the way, just so you know, I know quite a few female blonde drivers that are fantastic. My sister happens to be one of them. Hey sis. She really is. She's really, really good. And if that was the case, everywhere I go, I will always notice that people who happen to be female and blonde who made some sort of faux pas in traffic, I'm going to notice it and I'm going to say, aha, see, I was right. I was absolutely right. So actual thing that I do believe, and I try not to believe it, so I try to discount it and fight my brain in it, but it's really hard. It's like a daily battle, is that so I live in Providence, Rhode Island, and drivers in Providence, Rhode Island are special breed of drivers, and drivers in Massachusetts tend to be equally as special. Now, the Rhode Island drivers are interesting because they have their own little rules of like what you do, which basically means that if I'm in a right lane on the red light, but I need to go left because I just realized that I want to go left, it is perfectly okay to make a left turn from the right lane on the red light in front of everybody, just about causing a traffic accident. Perfectly fine. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Now, Massachusetts drivers are interesting. Oh, I gotta show you something. Look at this. Look how cool this is. Can you see it? It's like a little mushroom made out of tree stump. Fabulous. Love it when people do stuff like that. But Massachusetts drivers end up, gosh, I got myself too deep in the snow, so now I have snow in my shoe. Okay. They tend to sort of not always be the nicest, and not all of them, some of them, but because I've experienced this so many times, whenever I see it happen, I have caught myself go, aha, see, Massachusetts, I knew it. And I try to break it. So it's important to keep working on this stuff, because we create cognitive biases. That basically says that we form an opinion on something, and then our brain goes and works super, super hard over time to confirm that belief to be true. And that's how we get these cognitive biases. That's how we get these unsupporting beliefs. That's how we get all of this different stuff. And that's how you and I can look at the exact same thing, exact same asset, property, investment opportunity, business opportunity, person, doesn't matter, and come to two very different conclusions. Because our thinking is going to collect the information out there. So RAS basically goes out and filters everything that we're looking for. So if you have, Tony Robbins does this like really fabulous thing where he talks about, you know, like imagine you are going out and you are like shopping for a red Mercedes-Benz, for example, right? And maybe it's like E-Class, right? Whatever you want to go with whatever you want. And the moment your brain starts really focusing on that, you're gonna start noticing car everywhere. Like everywhere you turn, it's gonna seem like everybody has that car, drives that car, owns that car, talks about the car. And those people were there before. We just didn't notice them, because at the time, before we got into the whole thing, it didn't mean anything to us. So our brain wasn't focused on collecting information about that. So how can we use this filter to really change and improve our life? And one of the ways to do it is by choosing what we want to focus on. So if you're out there and saying like, I really want to get into starting a business, if I really want to get into, you know, improving my health, I really want to get into and start investing money and doing better with it and having more of it, all that stuff, cool. Let's write things down. And then write down some of the beliefs that maybe you have around that thing, that maybe is not the supporting belief. And here's kind of what I mean by that. So let's say that I really want to be able to have more money, but I happen to have a belief that I'm really bad with money. I am a bad money manager. I am not worthy enough of having enough money. I don't deserve it. I can't be trusted with money. Whatever beliefs that you're running, so write down the goal of what you want to achieve, and then write down some of those limiting beliefs that are running deep inside you. This might take a little bit of time to really think through, but it's important to put it down. Now, my question always was, where did this belief come from? Did I create it? Did somebody install it upon me, right? Like a sort of like a hacker into my brain? I just kind of put it in. Maybe something happened when I was like 5 years old or 10 years old that I don't remember all the details, but maybe, you know, maybe if my belief is that I am not good with money, maybe at 10 years old, I was given $10 bill to go to a store and buy something, and on the way there, I lost it, came back home and was like, sorry, Mom, I lost the money and I don't have anything. And then maybe because we were running broke, Mom got very angry and was like, oh my gosh, you can't be trusted with money at all. You are, you know, worthless. You're never gonna do well with money. And because that was so emotionally traumatic to us, we might have forgotten all the things kind of surrounding it, but we took that information as true, downloaded it into our brain, and are now running it as a program. So I don't know if you can recall some of the things of kind of how they were created for you or what they have done for you, but you know, I want you to start thinking about it. And if you can't, that's okay. What we can do next is to say, does this belief around this particular thing, like I'm not good with money, serve me in my goal to get more money? And the answer is likely going to be no. So am I willing to change? Yes. Am I willing to at least try to change? Yes. So now I can start going in and writing down some beliefs that I would want to think through. And here's kind of how it would work. You would write down, maybe if I am a good money manager. I am a responsible human being. I know when to save and when to spend. When I spend, I buy things that I need or things that will grow in value. So you can come up with all these different beliefs that you want to have and start writing them down and choose maybe one or two, or you can choose all of them, but you can start with one or two that you really want to take to heart. And what you want to do next is start repeating those to yourself. Now, for some of you, depending on kind of how deeply rooted this unsupporting belief is, it might be really hard to say, I am really good with money. Because so far in your life, you have been collecting evidence, thanks to RAS and thanks to the false belief, that you are horrible with money. Because you look back, you were like, I'm really good with money. And then you look back and your brain's like, bullshit. Sorry for cursing if there's kiddos watching. Right? Because you look back and you were like, no man, you're not. Look, you're broke. There's nothing in your bank account. You owe more money than you earn. Right? Like nobody will even lend to you. You can never buy a good asset. Whenever you invest money, you lose everything. Everything turns around you. Right? So there's all these different things that will start popping out at you one after another, one after another, one after another. And what we can do in that case scenario is that if you keep repeating this whole concept of like, I'm good with money, I'm good with money, I'm good with money, and the back of your brain's like, BS, 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 and BS. It doesn't work that way. You can't program it that way. What you can do is you can say, I am working towards becoming good with my money. And then start collecting evidence of how you're doing that. Maybe by watching videos like this, maybe by reading books, maybe by studying the investments, maybe by putting, you know, $1 out of every paycheck to the side for different things, maybe by choosing not to spend frivolously on things when you don't have money. Start collecting all the evidence and start noticing the evidence that is going to start supporting the new belief that you're trying to install. So that's really how you're going to start reprogramming some of the stuff. Now, keep in mind, this is not a one-time thing. It's not like you can write it down once and then, you know, never repeat it again. Like, this is going to be a constant rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and like, it has to be a daily practice that you do, and that is going to help you rewrite some of the stuff. It's sort of like if you were learning how to ride a bike. Like, you didn't just sit on a bike, you know, try it a couple of times, and then miraculously after that you could just like ride it, right? Like, you had gone out and practiced. If you were ever in sports, you had to go and practice things over and over and over and over and over again until you became good at it and it became your normal. Same thing with everything else, same thing with this. To change our mindset, to change how we think about stuff, is really going to come down to spending enough time and energy, dedicated time and energy, into running the new programs that we want to install in our lives. I hope this was helpful to you. Until next time, stay forever money blessed, and do remember, you are only one deal away. I want you to be happy. Don't you want to be happy? I want to be happy.